Thank you, Big, for the tag. So, we have an update on the situation regarding a Japanese new invoice system for taxes. Now, you may have heard about this some months back. It looks like it's taking effect now. Let's break down what this means. Comicbook.com writing, and we're actually going to skip to this area. So, first, let's take a dive into this controversial tax change. This new invoice system was created with industries like construction in mind, but its impact on the anime and broader entertainment industry has been largely discounted by officials. The issue boils down to a significant change in how freelancers can make tax deductions. The new invoice system requires individuals and small businesses to submit qualified invoices if they want tax deductions. This means accounting books are no longer used to source tax deductions, and taxpayers must file qualified invoices for everything they want deducted. This will lead to a lot of complex paperwork that many anime artists aren't trained to handle, and their meager salaries are hardly enough to afford an accountant. Plus, freelancers will need to qualify themselves as a taxable entity to get deductions, which will require them to make their personal information public. This is very unusual in the industry, as anime workers from animators to actors often use pseudonyms to protect their identities. One more paragraph, they say, with all of these changes at hand, a recent poll of anime professionals showed how unfavorable this invoice system is. About 20% of voice actors and animators respectively said the change will put them out of business. At this point, government officials have done little to rectify the situation, and now the Japanese Tax Consumption Organization has formally adopted this invoice change. That seems like it may imply that there's more than 20% of people that disagree with the change. However, 20% are saying it's so bad that they'll actually go out of business because of it. It sounds like people in Japan have two main issues with this new system. One, it sounds like it's cumbersome and made for more businesses in line with construction, but apparently it's rolling out across the board and going to affect many industries. And two, the privacy concerns about identifiable information being forced to become public. Now, I don't really know enough about Japan and how businesses operate in Japan and taxes work in Japan and all that to comment so much on the first aspect. I could point out some things that I find odd, but given that I live in America and most of my knowledge on taxes is how they work in the US, it's probably best I don't really comment on that too much. However, as for the second aspect and the privacy concerns, well, that's a lot more straightforward. And we're talking about anime and manga specifically and how toxic a lot of these fan bases can be. And yes, even in Japan, the toxicity can happen. And so it makes sense why a lot of these industry professionals would want to remain anonymous. And we see this across the board with many mangakas, from using fake names or pseudonyms to even examples like Oda, where he seems to not want his public image out there, right? Now, I don't think this new invoice system is going to require people to put their pictures out there, but it's just an example of mangakas, even very high profile ones, wanting to retain some level of privacy. So to my understanding, and I'm sure this is not 100% accurate, but it sounds like the general application of this new system will require these individuals to register as business entities of a sort if they want to continue deducting certain business expenses from their income. And this registration will put them, or the specific invoices which have their information, into some sort of public database. Again, I don't think that's a 100% accurate description, but I think it's closer to accurate than not, at least to my current understanding of how this is rolling out in Japan right now. Hopefully the 20% of people who said this new system will put them out of business will find a viable way of operating under these new circumstances somehow. But unfortunately, not much I can do here in the US except talk about what's going on. So all the best to them in dealing with this. We'll see how it plays out in the future. Thank you all for tuning in, guys. Let me know what you think about this in the comments. Appreciate you and your time. I'll see you there and in the next segment.